Welcome to the Why Music podcast, where we talk to independent artists about their journeys, the inspirations behind their music, and ultimately why they make music. This next act is a Connecticut-based trio delivering a mix of alternative, rock, and pop. Carrying you back to the turn of the century, they are keeping the sounds of bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Incubus alive in the current decade. Welcome, Phatt James.
Hey,
What's up?
thank you for that.
That was awesome.
Of course. I always like to start with where your music journey all began, so we can go to each of you and also kind of go to how the band kind of came to be.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll
Now,
go first. We'll go in this rotation.
yes.
Um, yeah. I guess so. When I was in middle school, I used to really want to be able to play the guitar because of my uncles. My uncles knew how to play guitar, so some of my family members, and I would see them jamming out at like family gatherings and stuff. And I was like always very like, why can't I do that? I want to be able to do that, and I want to be able to, and I really wanted to be able to like jam with them, just play.
Mhm.
Uh, and then I also had my buddy Cal Kehoe, who I knew in middle school, who was like a huge influence on me. And he's in a band called Pink Talking Fish, and he's also in the Cal Kehoe band. But he was just super influential on me. He was like my best friend, still is my best friend, and he's a really really good guitar player and singer and musician. So I definitely had these people around me that were like doing this thing, like playing guitar and making music, and I was really attracted to it and wanted to be able to do that. So that kind of that kind of hooked me in. Then I started playing in middle school, and I got decently good. I just played. I took a year of lessons, and then I taught myself pretty much, but just jamming on and off. In high school, I was more into skateboarding. Then when I got to college, I started playing my guitar again, and then met a couple guys in my dormitory that also played music. Started up a band with them along the way, like other bands too, but then it formed into Phatt James. And I was like writing a lot of songs then. Some of the songs on the album we just released, I wrote then. And then yeah, so we jammed throughout college for that 4 year time frame. And after we graduated, I came back home to Connecticut. Um, and so did the rest of the band. Maddie C and Chris weren't in the band at that time. It was my buddy Mark and our buddy Timmy, and then our buddy Andrew Del Grosso was in the band, and they all left to go home and everything. But then when we got back home, we were like, shoot, we want to do the band again, and that's when Mark and I were really kind of pushing Phatt James at that time, and we knew about Chris up in New Hampshire, and we were really, Timmy had some other things going on, and we really wanted to try out jamming with Chris. And So that's when Chris came into the picture because we decided to move back to New Hampshire. And I was living with some people that were in a band that he was in, Chris was in. So naturally, we started jamming and everything, and you know, that's when we met. So maybe I'll stop there.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe you
that
could talk
was
about anything.
that was yeah, that was a super awesome time. I was like you said, I was playing in another band at the time, up in New Hampshire with guys that I went to school with and everything. And Matt lived with them and everything, and I used to see him in passing, and we'd cross paths from time to time. But we used to play shows together, and I always was obsessed with the music that they played. Phatt James at the time. So I was like, if I ever get the chance to jam with these guys, I got to do it. I gotta get in there, just at least for a jam session. So when I got word that their drummer had other obligations, I was like, dude, get me in there. Let's do it. Whatever. And jam session went great. We played a show, and it was just like instant connection. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess as far as my upbringing goes too, like, I started playing when I was like 8, and I took lessons, and I played in school bands growing up, percussion and drums and stuff like that. And then I went to school at University of New Hampshire as well, up in New Hampshire. Went to school for music there, and you know, came out of college with Matt and the boys up there, and we kept Phatt James going. And then yeah, so Matt and I then moved down back to Connecticut after I graduated. Again, so he had gone home while I was still at school, and then came back to New Hampshire while I was still up there. So that was like pre me. Then when I graduated, we lived there for another year, jammed out, played a bunch of shows up in that kind of New Hampshire, Maine, Boston area. And then him and I both originally were growing up in Connecticut. So we both moved home about 2019, end of the summer 2019. And then Maddie C came into the picture. Thank you to Craigslist.
Yep. That's right, baby.
We met Maddie C on Craigslist.
No
The greatest
way.
story ever. Yeah, the hidden gem. And that's where Maddie C came into the picture.
The band at the time that I was playing in was kind of slowing down. I was looking to stay busy. So I just kind of went on and was looking for other people that were, jamming, doing stuff locally, and met these guys, and it was great. Like gelled right away.
Right away. Maddie C was literally the perfect puzzle piece fit.
Yeah.
I don't know what we played the first night that we jammed with you, but it was
a couple years
definitely,
ago.
we just immediately started jamming, and it was great. So,
Yeah. But no, I mean, I grew up with I'm grateful my parents always had pretty good music in the house, and I started on drums and guitar when I was little. And then I believe it was middle school age, around then, I was trying to join an after school program. It was an R&B band, and there was like 4 guitarists. So they're like, we can't have you. But I mean, if you know how to play bass, you can do it. So like all the money I had, I spent on this cheap little bass, and I fell in love with it, and I never looked back. It was bass from then on. So that was about it, yeah.
Honestly, that was the first time I ever heard Maddie C's origin story, so that was super wholesome to hear. Honestly,
I keep it mysterious.
I'm still stuck on the Craigslist thing.
Listen, yeah.
It was risky. We all know Craigslist.
Yeah.
And to be fair, now looking back too, we had him come. So where we're at right now is my parents' house, and this is kind of our jam session hub. And during COVID, this is where we recorded our album and stuff. So when we were jamming out, Matt and I, before we had another bass player down here, we had one guy before Maddie C come in and jam with us, and he was like 35 and just came into the basement. He was like 6'8", like his head was scraping the ceiling. And, he like had a life established and everything. We're like, I don't know. And then, so literally 2 random people from Craigslist just walked into my parents' house, which now looking back was like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like
none of us should have been.
Literally, like we didn't even know what he looked like. We just like were texting back and forth or like emailing. And I was like, dude, you want to just like try and jam? And we rolled the dice, and I guess it kind of worked out. But Maddie C definitely could have been a serial killer. We wouldn't have known it,
Ulterior motives.
That would have been kind of cool to be a part of a Netflix doc, though.
Oh my God.
Enjoying.
An attempted band formed, gone wrong. That would make for quite the Netflix doc for sure. Oh my gosh.
Sure. But we are so incredibly grateful for Craigslist to match us up with Maddie C.
They welcomed me with open arms. And I was a baby coming in too. I was a lot younger.
Yes, he was a little baby boy.
I was little.
But he did not seem that way.
No,
definitely not
seem that way at all.
They definitely great influences musically. Like I can always bounce ideas off these guys, and it flows very well between us. So I'm grateful.
Oh, it's always cool how those things work out. Where it's just like, naturally, it's just like one of those things where it's like you might have just on a happenstance like run into each other or gotten together, but it's just like, it's like so natural. It's like the second it happens, it's just like, what else was there before this? Like, how did I do anything before like this was what it is? It's so cool.
Well, it's also cool too because we had kind of like because when Matty C joined the band and everything, it kind of was like a there was kind of like a split of two chapters of Phatt James, kind of. I mean, I guess three because there was the chapter before me as well. So, but what we had the group before we moved back down to Connecticut and everything, and we moved down here, and then Matty C joined the picture, and it kind of like we kind of reshaped kind of the sound of everything too. You know, it was really cool. Matty C and I come from well, I guess myself personally, I come from a pretty heavy musical background, like heavy metal and stuff. So like that was always in the background. And the guys that played with us before, Mark and Andrew, kind of came from like country folk ish background. So the sound kind of gravitated a little bit on the I wouldn't say lighter side, but more kind of towards the poppier side of things. And then Matty C came in and had kind of like a little bit of that grungy '90s grunge to him, and we're like, oh, we're gonna start getting a little grittier with this sound now. And yeah, Matty C's always pushing the volume knob and pushing the grit of Phatt James.
When I first joined, we were a lot quieter. Now we are much louder.
Yes.
That is my fault. I do take responsibility for that. But
Where does the name come from?
Yes. So yeah, my name's Matt. And well, when I was jamming in college, when I started playing more music and stuff, and like writing songs and stuff, and Mark and Andrew, my buddies there that I was playing with at the time, I don't know, we stumbled one night or something, who knows when it was. Somebody stumbled on this picture of me when I'm in middle school, and I was a little bigger, and they called me Fat Matt, they called me Fatty J, all these things. And one day, I think Mark and Andrew, I think it was Mark really, was like, why don't we just call it Phatt James? And I was like, at first I was like, I was like really gravitated towards the name, but like I was like, no. but but uh but as it's gone on, like it's really like I would want the name for a band to be like super encompassing. And like when I think about all the song names that I've come up with, it's like none of them really feel like a band name, but the band name feels perfect for all the other songs, I guess, if that makes sense. But the other thing too, I love seeing it now, like written with the PH and the two T's, like in graffiti and like all this cool font and stuff. Like it's totally like now I'm like, I have a different opinion of it. I'm like, oh, Phat's cool. And somebody told us the other day about Pretty Hot and Tempting, which I'm super into. I like that.
Yeah. Definitely got to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, so it's cool. And yeah, shout out to the 90s too, because like I definitely am influenced by the 90s music too, for sure. But yeah.
Yeah, I think, isn't it supposed to be that the Phatt with the PH is supposed to mean cool in the first place?
Yeah,
I think that's, so. Yeah, like it worked out perfectly.
No, and then I think, you throw an extra T in there and it's just like
adds a little flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does the songwriting process or songwriting inspiration kind of look like, being that you guys are a group? Like how does a new song start for Phatt James?
We should talk about Step Taken, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, go ahead, because it's
well, we're getting a song ready for our show on the 30th, and at Park City Music Hall. Shout out. But that has been kind of a somewhat of a like we kind of took let's see. So I brought this idea to the table of a song that was like a bunch of pieces, and I kind of had a demo kind of out, but then I bring it to these guys, and then we just experiment, and you can't really say no to anything, and like like sometimes in that situation, like with a song, it's like you get attached to certain parts or things you do, even recording or whatever. But at a certain point, it's like if you want it to be a collective and you want it to be better because it will be better because it's collective, you just let go of the reins for a second and be like, hey, I have this idea. What do you want to do with it? And that's kind of what we just did. So that's cool.
Yeah, ever since Maddie C joined the picture, a lot of our writing process now with newer things come from like jam sessions. We'll kind of sit down and three of us will jam in either an ideal form or we'll like jam a song and like Maddie C is very good about I don't want to speak for him obviously, but he's super good about um, you know, presenting an idea that comes to his brain in a really like understandable way, because Matt and I are very easygoing when it comes to ideas and stuff. I mean, especially Matt too, because like the ideas tend to form from Matt. So, you know, when Matty C brings an idea to the table, like we had a section in the song "Step Taken" before, that we jammed through and we played it once or twice, and then Matty C after a playthrough of it, kind of just looked at us and was like, "What if we just like cut that part?" And we're like, "Yeah, I mean, why not?" And then we cut it, and it completely like made perfect sense, and now it sounds much better. And the song is now like 3.5 minutes, which is like definitely a shorter song for us. Not that it matters, but it's just cool. And the three of us all really get along in the jam space and stuff. I feel like we all gel and everything, which makes things super easy. And every idea that kind of gets tossed out gets entertained before we either scrap it or keep it. There's no like there's not a no, which Matt said earlier. Right. You know what I mean? It's like there's never a no, which is good.
Except when I'm cutting parts out of it.
Except when Matty C's cutting parts, right.
Except when he's got scissors in hand, just snipping out, sections and whatnot.
I'm a big believer in keeping it simple. I like very simple things. So I'm like, that we can get rid of that.
Yeah.
But no, they're really letting me kind of put my hands in there and shape things, and I'm grateful for that. I think there's plenty of bands out there that really get at each other's throats with that kind of stuff, and to come in here and have it be so easy and everybody's bringing things to the table, it's really great.
Yeah, that could definitely potentially be a downfall, being that it's like, the more minds, it's like, okay, you're getting more perspective, you're getting more ideas generated, you're having this like collaborative, like true collaborative effort. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you're also having that many different opinions and that many different approaches. Right. And some people do get very precious about different things. Like I know for the stuff that like I write and everything, it's like, I don't want to lose that. Like I wrote that and I like that and I don't want to lose it. But does the song benefit from it? Absolutely. So you need that sort of like checks and balances of like, okay, like have your cool moment, have your cool idea, but then also be content with it just like dropping out like completely. Like, cause sometimes that's, sometimes less is more. Like you said, keeping it simple. Sometimes that's just what does the trick. So you kind of, it's definitely very nice to see that it's a clean cut effort and it's not, knocking heads or anything, but
yeah,
y'all got a lucky set of cards on that one. You got a good mesh going.
Sure. The good thing is I feel like 99% of the time we're all on the same page on where a song is going.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it even easier as it is. You know what I mean? It's when it comes time to making those little changes, I think everybody's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that makes way more sense. Or Matty J will add a part and that should have been there the whole time.
Yeah.
It's very very easy-going.
Sure. Smooth sailing out here in Phatt James, man.
I know. I'm not finding any ripples in the water. It's beautiful. I love it.
Wholesome content out here.
Oh yeah, gotta love it. If you had to create a new genre around your style of music, what are you calling it?
Calling it.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
This is everybody's least favorite question. So,
Hmm. I mean, maybe something with a PH, I guess. I'm just thinking like funk rock or something. I don't know. You guys got any good answers for that?
I would say I would call it like 90s nostalgic alternative rocks pop mix of something. I don't know. I don't know.
Something around like driving in the car and like
Oh, yes.
nostalgia,
Yeah.
nostalgia,
Let's
uh,
call it nostalgic drive.
car nostalgia.
Car nostalgia.
I don't know.
One word though. We got to put them together.
Yeah.
Car nostalgia.
Yeah. Car nostalgia.
I like that. That's cool. I used to ask a question of like, if you had to describe like the perfect scene to consume your music in, what would
Oh,
it be?
100%.
And everybody would always, and I cut it because everybody was always like, oh, in the car, because to some degree you could listen to anything in the car and it could fit the right vibe given the outside atmosphere and everything. But I feel like it's a true like
Mm.
claiming that as your category.
Yeah,
That
90C
might be
got
it.
it.
That might be
90C got
road
it.
trip rock.
Road trip rock.
Ooh, a little alliteration. I like
No, I
that.
like that
Oh,
actually. I feel like you get a good mix of vibes when you listen to the music that we put out. I feel like so you could put it on a road trip because it's not just the same thing over and over again. You know what I
Right.
mean? You kind of get you get peaks and valleys, so like it keeps you on your toes when you're driving, keeps you awake.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Just because yeah, like you said,
Road
there's a
trip
lot
rock.
of different things going on with a road trip. You can't have the same vibe for like 8 hours. You got to change it up.
That's very true. That's going on. That's another T-shirt.
road
We
trip.
got a lot of merch ideas. We're gonna have to start.
I love it. Um, is there a song that you've written that you think best embodies who you are as a band in terms of like a one song sample? Listen to this, you'll be a fan of the band. Listen to this, you'll get a sample of our general catalog, like that kind of thing. I know it's hard, but if there was one song that you had to kind of use to sell somebody on being a Phatt James fan.
Can we all answer it
Yeah,
individually? Because I feel like
absolutely.
we'll have
Absolutely.
so Maddie, see what?
So I would say it's a little older. It's on the EP, but Circle Bent.
See, it's like that I took this look at what was in my hands with nowhere to go, but to follow what I always could. The two roads I knew of, they began to form into one, and my lungs, they opened, and I felt what it was like to run, not in circles, but parallels with my true self. Man, it was a straight shot into a wave I had never rode, as lucid as I had ever been told. It's just my story to tell, 'cause it's not so easy. It's not so easy for me now. It's not so easy, but it should be so easy for me now.
I think that's just like Phatt James in a song.
Mm.
As far as the new album goes, I would say my favorite on it that I feel like I'm always pushing this one on people when they want a song is Wide Eyes.
Ooh,
I love
nice.
that one. That's my personal favorite.
Hairs on the back of my neck just stood up a little bit. I wasn't expecting that. That's a vibe. Yeah, I think I was gonna say Circle Bent too, but from the new album, I would also say I would say Just Begun if you have the 8-minute attention span to sit through a song. I think you get a touch of almost. I feel like you get a sprinkle of every song on the album throughout Just Begun a little bit. I think there's parts of each song inside of that song, which I think is pretty cool because we put it at the end of the album and it's the title track and everything. So for me, if I were to sit down and show somebody a song, it would definitely be Circle Bent. But immediately afterwards, I'd be like, I'm chaining you to a chair for 8 minutes and you're going to listen to this song. How about you?
Yeah. I think Just Begun is a good choice, but the thing is, it's like, if it was like if I was showing somebody one of our songs for the first time, I don't know if I would choose that one because it is like, it does encompass like
It's a lot to take in.
but
It's
a lot
definitely a
to
lot.
take in.
It's definitely a lot.
But that being said, Circle Bent, like that song is where like our logo came from, but also just the vibe of it and everything. Like it's just I agree. That would be one that I'd want to share with people. I think just in general, my personal favorite song, I don't know if I would show Circle Bent or if I would do So Alive Here. So Alive Here is like
Nice.
is probably my favorite song.
Yeah.
But I also like Ahead of Line too from the album. That's another one to share, but I don't know. Yeah.
You just gonna have
That's
to
a tough one.
you're just gonna have to block off a day. You're gonna have to block off like an hour. I think total runtime of all of our stuff is probably close to like an hour and a half. So just block off like an hour and a half and just give everything a listen.
Okay.
Please.
You don't have to.
No, you don't have to,
But if you're feeling generous, we'd appreciate it.
I mean, listen, if you're going on like a little road trip for an hour and a half,
Yeah.
I mean, road trip rock.
Why not?
Officially.
That's perfect. If you had to pick 2 or 3 artists or bands that you think your music is like a combination of, who would it be? Like a melting pot.
Well, obviously, Chili Peppers and Incubus. Those are huge for us.
Yes.
For us, for me, for sure. But if I had to pick like the ones that I think are my favorite, that I'm gonna tattoo on my arms all over, would be Incubus, Chili Peppers. I would say John Butler Trio.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I might even say, I don't know if we show this side of us, but I listen to so much Alice in Chains.
Nice.
And then another songwriter, Jeff Buckley, really like him. So it's kind of definitely a melting pot of influences there.
Yeah.
For me.
100%.
But we definitely have like some heavy Chili Pepper and Incubus vibes for sure with a lot of stuff. Yeah.
That's a perfect answer.
Yeah. That's exactly.
But we all have different influences.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Yeah. Growing up, we all listen to different stuff, which is, I've said it before to these guys, like it's cool to listen back to especially the album that we all put together, each one of our influences comes out at certain times, like me personally, I grew up very much so progressive metal, like metal vibes. In the end of the song Face Print, I got like my little, 5 seconds of fame with the double kick at the end there, and I was like, I remember sitting in the room here while we were kind of going through the recording process, and I looked at Matt and was like, dude, man, like, is there any shot you'd let me put double kick at the end of this? And he's like, get the fuck in there and go record it, basically. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And I went in there and got it in there, and it stuck and everything. So it's cool. Like, I mean, we like Matt said, we all come from different backgrounds, so to be able to see those kind of pop out at different sections while also containing the vibe and not, letting it overtake the situation, it's cool, and I think it kind of gives us a unique identity.
Yeah. You beat me right to it. I was going to ask if there were any like individual influences that you thought like you saw pieces of in any of the songs or in any of the ways that you guys approach certain things. So
Yeah.
you kind of beat me right to that part.
Sorry.
All good, all good. Means I'm asking
Matty
the right
C.
questions.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Matty C definitely has his influences come out too,
For sure.
Oh yeah.
And they're definitely coming out now. Now that we're starting to put new songs together as a unit. Yeah, I don't want
I'm always pushing them to get a little bit heavier.
Oh yeah.
A little bit more angsty.
And I'm sitting here like, here's my arm, dude, twist it, you know? Like, twist my arm.
Oh yeah.
Just give me all.
No, the interesting thing with like bands, especially ones that, like you said, have had different eras or chapters and, you know, had different people come and go and things change. It's interesting to see how that also is like depicted in the sound. Cause like I'm sure what you guys are doing now doesn't sound like what it was with the original lineup of who was involved. And just to kind of see, because, you know, whether you're like directly intently like trying to implement different influences, sounds, et cetera, like into the music. Like it's just naturally kind of coming out because that's what you've consumed your whole life. That's the way you learn to play whatever it is that you play. And that's just the way that it's kind of naturally come to be. So it's always interesting to see how, you know, like, because if you watch a band over time, how like their sound evolves as like different members are evolving and things are changing and all these other things. It's really cool.
Right, yeah. It's cool. It's a fun time when we put songs together. It's really awesome.
If you're someone that is constantly looking for new music and trying to find artists before they blow up, then I'd like to introduce you to a project you're going to love. Indie for Your Inbox is an email newsletter that brings you a new song from an independent artist every single day. Uniting music lovers with the future face of the industry, we want to provide indie artists a new way to bring their music to their future fans. Click the link to subscribe now and find your future favorite artist. What is an outside passion of yours that you feel impacts who you are as an artist, or in this case, a band? This could be individual, this could be collective. I don't know if you guys have shared hobbies. I don't know what the vibes are over there.
Wow. Well,
we like hanging out together.
we definitely like to hang out. We definitely
so
we
that
definitely
that
go
has an
out.
impact of it. For
I
sure.
would say, I mean, going to shows.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
That's a
You
good
know.
one.
We could be out watching a band and just like the way they do something. And be like, oh, we could definitely do something like that.
Yeah.
So I think even doing like that influences greatly. Just in all the bands that we play with too. So I mean, we go play shows and we'll be hanging out after, watching bands and hanging out and kind of doing our thing. And yeah, that's a great impact on us.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I would say in terms of like the creative process and stuff, you know, I'm gonna talk about.
Oh yeah.
Send it. Show them those shoes.
I love fly fishing. I got Nikes with hooks on them because I love fishing. I love fly fishing. So getting out in the woods, getting out in the river, having some quiet time, and maybe you even bring your instrument out there. Maybe you're singing a melody out there. I don't know.
Matt has posted some beautiful videos just in the middle of the woods with like a single mic, just chilling.
Too much work though, because then you got to bring the mic out there. You got to set it up and everything. I'm over it. I just want to have a good time now.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially after I posted a few and they got like 30 likes. I was like, yeah, it's not worth it.
As soon as you said show me
Yeah,
show him the shoes, I was like, I don't know what I'm about to get myself into here, but I'm here for it.
Huge runner. Love to run. No,
Yeah,
not at all.
I recently, well, I guess not recently as much anymore, started doing this thing where I take a question asked by last week's interview for this week's interview. And so last week's artist's question for you guys is, what's something that you hope you will have accomplished 10 years from now in the music world of things?
I would love to quit my day job and do this forever. That would be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are personally. I feel so lucky anytime we get to play a show. Um, so as long as we get to continue to play shows and keep putting music out and continue to play shows, like there's nothing that I love more than playing to, whether it's to 4 people or to 4,000 people. Not that we've ever done that, but to like a packed room, man. There's no better feeling in the world than being on a stage and boysing out with your homies that you just transfer the energy from the basement jams to a stage in front of people. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, I mean, obviously we have big hopes and dreams, but um, just to keep doing it, would be the major goal for sure.
So true. I think keep doing it is a huge one because in a lot of ways we've already done a lot of things that like I feel super fulfilled, as a musician, putting out an album and everything and playing shows and stuff and working with Erica and doing interviews and stuff like this. So just keep doing that thing, just keep grinding because yes, I would love to just play music and fish. I just want to play music and fish. That's all I want to do.
Like the Nike swoosh on his shoes, just do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I think that's both like the best way to look at it and the best just like general mindset to have is just like if you're not enjoying wherever you're at in the journey now, like you're not going to necessarily enjoy it down the line. It's not like once you get to a certain point, then, that's what's going to make it worthwhile. That's what's going to make me happy about it. Like, it's like you guys from the very get-go have been saying like grateful to even just be doing what it is we're doing right now. Like that's what will sustain it over time. Because if it's just you're aiming for this like one thing, it's like, well, what if it takes you like 10 years just to get to that one place? Is that going to feel worth it? It's like, no, what you're doing right now is showing up and doing the thing that you already love doing. And like you said, you're already fulfilled by doing XYZ amount of things that you guys have done. Like that's what it's about, like that's the really cool part of it is just getting to do the thing, whatever that thing is. Like getting to do the thing is like bottom line, like that's the standard, that's the goal, that's the dream.
We are literally living it, the dream, as we speak. I mean, to just the idea of like homies of ours, like friends and family and people that we don't know coming to like taking a night that they could do whatever they wanted to do and come see us. Are you kidding me? That's insane. Like we're just 3 dudes who just like playing music, and for people to like literally make a night out of it. What?
Yeah.
Or like taking the time out of their day to listen to our songs. What do you mean, dude? We literally just spent COVID putting songs together in a basement, and now you're like spinning it in your headphones, like, or in the car. Sorry, not in your headphones, in the car.
In the car.
Road trip rock. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, just as long as the shows keep getting better and bigger and, people keep listening and,
I'm excited to keep writing too. I mean,
writing.
I look forward. I like the fact of recording this music, and doing it well and making it like a final piece. So to do that, to keep doing that, whether it's albums or singles or EPs or whatever, it's just like to have those timestamps, like that's what it's all about, I want to be ready to go, on my deathbed or whatever with like a bunch of songs that have been written and stuff,
What about you?
I mean, I'm going to be doing this until I physically can't. So
Facts.
there you go. That's my goal. Yeah, one day not have to worry about a job or, just be able to do it and kind of live and be comfortable. That would be the ultimate end goal for me.
Go on tour.
Yeah,
Make some mini tours.
tour
Yeah,
is
we need to do at least
yeah.
some mini tours.
yeah.
You know.
We would vibe out in a van.
Yeah.
We would vibe.
Road trip rock. Come on now, you're living it
Road
at that point.
But you know
the
what?
van needs to be decked out with like road trip
With
rock
like
on
good
it.
AC.
100%.
Yeah.
I've done some summer runs in the van, and it's not fun when it's hot.
Well,
At
maybe
least
not.
it's only three. It's only three of us, so we could kind of spread out in the van.
We get a nice decked out van. We'll make it happen.
We could each claim our own bench seat in the van and
I feel like
make it our home.
Why not just get an RV? Like not a big one, but like just an RV. Why not?
Good.
I mean, why are we skipping around here? We'll just buy a tour bus. I don't even know what sell all my assets.
We're parking it at your house, so
That's fine. We can park it right here. Sorry, Mom and Dad. You can't get your cars out of the garage. We got a tour bus in the driveway. A daily driver.
What is your question for the next artist for the podcast?
Do you know who it is? Would it be a single person or would it be a group? Or do we not? Do we just go in blind to that question?
You're going blind. It will most likely be an individual, but you can frame it any way you'd like.
All right. Can we do 3 questions since there's 3 of us, or no? Does it have to be one collective?
If you wanted to, you could.
We could pick the best one.
Yeah, you could filter it out.
Try to think of one. That's good.
Yeah, something unique, something out of the box.
I think we should go with something about that satisfaction of where you are in the moment of music and everything. Something around there, like how do you think you could be more satisfied with where you are at in your musical career? How could you? Yeah, I don't know. How could what could you do? It's kind of like the other question though.
You could say, what do you feel is like your greatest achievement so far, and what do you hope it to be going forward, or something? Well, I guess that's the same question, just
Similar.
in the past.
Yeah.
All right, let's think. How about we think not music? What if we go a different route?
ketchup or mustard.
Oh shit! There we go.
Yeah,
That's
we
a
could
good
go.
question. We should get something crazy going here. All right. You could be any type of animal. What would you be?
If you could be any type of condiment, what would you be?
Oh, Chipotle mayo.
Yeah.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
I
Yeah.
probably would go with a hot sauce. I probably would be a hot sauce.
Buffalo sauce?
Yeah.
Mmm.
But I don't feel that spicy.
You're the spiciest of the spicy, man, dude. All right, let's think.
I'm sticking with ketchup and mustard.
All right,
I think
that's our
good.
question. That's Phatt James's insightful question. Ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup or mustard? Would I get a bad rep if I said I don't really like either?
Oh no,
That's fair. How about what is your condiment of choice then?
I was a honey mustard girl for a very long time. My boyfriend's from Michigan and he's turned me into a ranch person now. I'm a big ranch fan these days.
A lot of ranches nowadays.
On pizza?
Oh yeah.
No,
On
not on pizza. Not on pizza.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're from Chicago. We don't do ranch on deep dish.
No.
gross.
I don't do ranch on pizza, period. So I'm not a
Wait,
big dip in that way kind of gal. But
I have a question really quick. I'm gonna become the interviewer for 1 second.
okay, do it.
Favorite Chicago pizza?
Like place?
Yeah.
Or
I would say favorite deep dish spot.
deep dish would be Lou Malnati's.
You are my favorite. I love Lou Malnati's, dude. Yes.
I worked
Lou
at one
Malnati's.
for about 2 days. So
Got the deep dish truck with the ice cream on top. Oh man, my
What
mouth,
did you do
my
for
mouth
2
is
days?
watering.
I worked
What'd you
at a Lou Malnati's for 2 days, and then it just
Just to get-
didn't work out. But there was one around the
Literally-
corner from me, so if we got it, that was the place that we would go.
Amazing. Yeah, that you could stop your answering now. That's literally the only answer I want. I was gonna literally ask questions until you eventually got to Illuminati. So
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. What is it that you think sets you apart from other independent music acts?
Authenticity. I don't know.
yeah,
I mean, everybody's got something to offer.
yeah,
There's enough room for everybody, and as long as you're authentic,
that's a great answer.
and we're authentic.
Yeah. I think the fact that we all come from different backgrounds musically really helps kind of set us apart. You know, like I was talking about earlier, to have various influences change the certain vibes of certain songs, and we're all super open of if we want to have one song be super heavy or one song be an acoustic song like Baby Blue on the album, like literally just a acoustic and bass and vocal track. Like there's no animosity towards like, well, we have to keep it rigid and like the songs have to sound this way. It's like, all right, well, if one of us learns how to like death metal scream, maybe we'll throw a little death metal at the end of this track or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like options are open. So I think that probably would set us apart.
Yeah, I think definitely variety. There's a
Mm.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
That, and I think our live shows. I think people start coming to the live shows. It's a good time. I think Phatt James shows. It's a party. Everybody has a good time.
We're partying.
We got to get you guys down to
Listen.
North Carolina so I can come to one of these.
Are you're down in North Carolina now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That would be.
Yeah.
I'd like to play some warmer places like that. Places on the beach.
Yeah, if you could hook us up with a nice like beach show, we'll be down there.
We will gladly toes in the sand, jamming out.
And I would love to. I don't know if you got them in North Carolina. I think you do. I would love to go get some Bojangles.
We do. I have not been yet. I've only been here since the summer. I haven't been to Bojangles yet, but we do have them. I know that much.
Nice. So, shout out to Bojangles.
Yeah. Bojangles down there, like our Duchess up here.
Oh,
Okay.
shout out to
They have Carl's Jr. and they got like Hardy.
True,
and stuff
true.
like
They got all that stuff though too. Yeah.
It's all like
y'all got a good selection down there.
all foods, all places we've seen. But like I don't think I've ever had. I don't think I've had Duchess. I had Duchess like once.
Wow.
They get on me for that. I don't know if you guys know what
said
Duchess
that.
is.
This is the first time
Duchess-
hearing of it.
But
Yeah.
this is a Connecticut.
It's like
Only-
it's like your Bojangles, but
Yeah.
I just never. I don't know. Just never
Okay.
had it. And
I mean,
I did look for it.
I've been
They
here
scored-
for a while and I still haven't had Bojangles, so.
they were mad at me for a good week. Like, dude,
Duchess Restaurants just followed us on Instagram the other day, so this is a terrible look for
We're
us.
trying to score a sponsorship.
Well, don't show them this conversation then.
Duchess.
Eat-
love you.
Go get the number 3.
I like it Buffalo style.
No, going back to what you guys said though, with the whole like, as long as you're authentic, there's space for it. I am totally like, I subscribe to that same mindset. It's like my view is always if the music is good enough in terms of like, just from like a sonic quality, like sonically, like mixed kind of clean perspective, like there is room for it. There's an audience for it out there. It's just like you just have to find the ears that music will find a home in. There's the way that we consume music now. It's like there is space for everything under the sun at this point, and that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Well put. For sure.
What impact do you want to have with your music and with the band as a whole?
I would love to inspire somebody else to play the drums. I It is my favorite thing to do in the entire world is to play. And um, I remember there was one show that we played pre-Maddie up in Massachusetts, and we were playing this place called the Tinker's Son. And I was sitting playing this song that we have called "Until I Learn." And I remember sitting there playing, and there was like a little elevated section to our left, where there was like tables and stuff. There was this one kid sitting there. He was probably, I don't know, he's around our age at the time, probably early 20s. And he's sitting there and he was watching me play and playing air drums to what I was doing. And I still, like, to this day, think that was probably one of the coolest feelings I've had playing music, was just like watching him, whether he knew the song or not, doing what I was doing. I was like, that's so sick. That was like so cool to see that, you know? Um, so yeah, I think personally, I love watching. I would love to see other people get inspired by us to follow what they want to pursue. You know, I mean, this is all something that we love so much, and whether we were just having this conversation the other day about this same topic of whether it's chasing music or opening a bakery or something, some kind of thing that you want to go after. We're saying find a team and hit it hard and go for it, because you know it's not the easy thing to do, but it's something that you could always look back on and say that at least you gave it a shot, whether it works out or not. You went after it and you did it. And you know so it may work out, it may not, you never know. But I mean, I kind of like that uncertainty of life. Makes it pretty interesting. I would hate to have a super boring life.
True. Um, I think like, so sometimes I think what I would like to get out of the music for other people, like I would love to have someone feel more understood about themselves from especially the lyrics. Like I really haven't had too many people talk to me about the lyrics in terms, but you hear about bands where it's like they have these fans that like, yo, you like saved my life. And I don't think that people are gonna have their life saved by us or our lyrics, but it's just that, like, when I was writing a lot of these lyrics, I didn't feel super understood, and that's writing them made me feel better about whatever it was that I was writing about. All the songs, whatever they're about, and if somebody was impacted in that way where they just felt more understood and more like, you know what, I'm all right, I'm okay, like I'm not crazy, that would be cool. So
Love that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that is a tough question, but I would probably say if one person could have just like a moment from one of the songs, like I don't know if you
mm,
remember listening to your favorite song for like the first time you heard it, you were in the car, or you were cooking, or you were doing whatever, and you just kind of everything stopped for a minute. You had a moment for yourself. Like I think that's cool. Like I want someone to have that
totally.
kind of moment, really
Yeah,
connect with it.
Hell yeah.
where it's like feels euphoric when you listen to it.
Yeah,
Then you
you
enter
know,
into a
it
different,
becomes like a special thing for you.
yeah,
You know,
it becomes
So
special.
I would hope that if one person had a connection like that to our music, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Just knowing that what we did got across to them.
That's dope.
Super dope.
I'm envisioning somebody doing that right now, and that's such a cool thought.
No,
Yeah.
you guys took some like common themes of answers that I get to that question a lot with, like, because it's, I always refer to it as passing the torch. Like, music has done so much for us as individuals that we just want to do that for the next lineup of people to come and do this however long from now. But you said it in like a way that like I did, it just like made much more sense than like any way I've necessarily like heard it before. Like hearing it being like, writing it made it feel a little bit more understood. Like you get that a lot. It's like, I want somebody to relate to it. I want it to make them not feel like they're alone, but it's like translating it into that, like once I wrote it, that kind of, writing it, I felt like I wasn't understood. Like that just kind of like, it probably says something that was like implied and wasn't quite, directly articulated, but it was just like, it just like painted the whole picture for me. I just had a little light bulb moment listening to you guys give those answers. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think that brings us to the final question of the podcast, which is ultimately the concept behind the podcast, which is why music?
Oh man, how much time you got? Wow. Who's going first?
I grew up playing sports, and
Hey, what's up?
Hold on, we're on an interview.
You can jump in if you want.
Yep.
All right, just walk up.
Sorry. Say hello to my father.
Hello.
Thank you for letting us jam here, record the whole album here.
Yes.
Anytime.
No, I was saying, like, I did sports growing up, and I still love sports to this day. But once I found music, it kind of felt more personal to me. I think I don't know, it felt more right to me. And then obviously getting to collaborate with people, like I like that team aspect of sports, but being able to do it with music, which was more my passion, so being in a band is kind of it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. 100%.
yeah, that's it right there. I mean, you try a lot of things, and some things stick, some things get really close to being like, oh yeah, this is like who I am. They're not necessarily this is who I am, because you're not anything, but like, you get attached to things, like, like skateboarding felt really important to me, but like music has always felt important to me. So like, you just try things out, I guess. Why music? I don't know. It's just like you just get drawn to things, and like being a musician is like, I've just always looked up to people that are musicians. They've just always like been like so inspiring, and like the feeling that they give off, like, and yeah, everything. It's just been super inspiring to see musicians and music, whatever connects, and that's what connected.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's cool too, like Maddie C was talking about before, about that moment, I remember being a kid and having that specific moment when I was, in the car with my dad, and a Dream Theater song came on, this band Dream Theater that I was obsessed with, still am obsessed with to this day. But the song came on, and the drums kicked in. I was like, that's it. I love that. I want to try and do that. And then, same thing as him. Like I played sports growing up, baseball and basketball and stuff like that. And I was always really into that team mentality, like building a friendship through another thing, whether it was, like you said, sports. And like, I always had friends in music as well. But I didn't see it at that time as like a team thing. We were just kind of a unit in school or whatever. It was kind of all, yeah, I didn't see the full aspect of it until I really saw, met guys up at college that I jammed with. And then with these guys, especially now, definitely being able to like build something from nothing, you know what I mean? Like building not only the music side of it, but like the whole Phatt James brand around it too. I always love kind of the business side of things too when it comes to the music stuff, whether it's merchandise or emailing for shows and booking stuff or whatever. So it's always fun to like, I like the behind the scenes stuff just as much as I like doing the actual process of writing and stuff, because for me personally, like I don't, I'm not gifted like Matt is, or Matty C for that matter too, with like lyrics or like shouting out chords and stuff. Like I have a minor theory background, but you know, I don't have that mentality. So like being able to contribute in a different way where I feel like I'm able to do something that really helps versus, you know, like not to say I don't help when I'm jamming out and like writing drum parts and stuff, but like being able to like um, you know, put a t-shirt together and see them come to the fruition and like sell a shirt, you know, or and then see somebody out or like make stickers and like I remember one time I was walking into the gym and I saw a Phatt James sticker on somebody's car. I'm like, that's so sick. Like that's crazy. You know, so I don't know, just being able to like build something, you know, that you've always wanted to do. I mean, I've always seen these bands and artists and stuff, and I've always been like, that's so crazy to be able to do that, you know, day in and day out. That's so cool. And then to be able to like do it now, you know, and build something and like feel the reward of getting to, you know, different milestones. You know, I mean, we played an album release show last year for us dropping this album that we put out to like a nearly sold out show at this big reputable venue in the area on a Thursday night. And like to walk out on stage and see an entire like just heads, like literally no end of heads, and you just see like the back wall and that's it. It was crazy and like literally just chills and everything. Like so to see this thing that we worked so hard on have that moment too of like payoff of like okay, everybody's coming out to support us and like they stuck around and watched till the end. We have like these really cool pictures of us in front of all these people. Like to have those moments from something that we built from essentially nothing is like so insane, so cool, you know. Um, yeah.
I also think that going off in a different way too. I think doing things at an early age, like I think about like if I were to try and find a passion right now as strong as music, it's just like I like there's a lot of life to live, so I could have the same span of time that I've already had with music with something else, but it just have having it be like all of us from so young, just having music as a part of our lives and actually doing it and playing it, that just makes it become like a part of you, I feel like. So that's why, you know, you just experiment when you're young. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta try all the different things to find the wrong things and ultimately also find the right thing. And you know, doing the wrong things makes you appreciate the right thing that much more.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this episode of the Why Music podcast. You can check back again next week for another conversation with another independent artist or band. Thanks for listening.